Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well out there. And today we're going to head back to the 90s, folks, for an R-rated action film. But before we do that, do me a favor, like, comment, and subscribe. Join me here. I greatly appreciate that. Also, as always, a shameless plug for my TeePublic and my Zazzle store. I'll leave a link for both of those in the description box below. And today we're going to go back to Arnold Schwarzenegger territory for his 1996 film, Eraser. Yes, Eraser came out June 21st of 1996. It's rated R. It's an hour and 55 minutes long. Had a budget of $100 million, and upon release, it made 101 in America and 242 worldwide. So this was a successful hit. Arnold was coming back to action after taking a break in 94 on Junior. And then later that same year, in 96, he would have Jingle All the Way in theaters in time for the holidays. Who directed this film was none other than Chuck Russell. Chuck Russell had directed Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 back in 87, the awesome Blob remake in 88, and he was just coming off The Mask in 94, so he was hot at the time, and this was his next film after that. Arnold Schwarzenegger plays John, or the Eraser. Vanessa Williams plays Lee. She is this woman who works for this defense contractors. She finds out they're selling their technology to some very bad people, and now her life is being threatened as she's going to testify against her company that she works for. James Caan is in here, as well as one of Arnold Schwarzenegger's co-workers, and James Coburn plays Arnold Schwarzenegger's boss in this film as well. And basically in this film, we find out right in the beginning, we see this couple and people are trying to kill them. He shows up, kills the bad guys, helps them get a new identity and protects them, and we're into our main story. We find out that this defense contractor is selling these rail guns, these new EM rail guns to terrorist organizations in other countries. And Lee finds out, wants to testify against them. You know, John protects her, puts her in protective custody, but pretty soon there's moles within his organization, and he has to save Lee, find out who they're selling these technology to, stop the bad guys, and save the country from these railguns getting out to other countries and terrorist organizations, and that is Eraser. What to like about this film? Well, Schwarzenegger is great here, as he always was in action films. This was still in his, the R-rated 80s action star was starting to wane a little bit at this time. Stallone had a couple hits early in the 90s with Demolition Man and Cliffhanger, but their stars were starting to shrink a little bit. And Schwarzenegger was, True Lies was a hit, but then he was doing Junior right after True Lies, which I don't think that was much of a hit. And then he had this and Jingle All the Way, and then he came back in 99 with End of Days. But even his star was starting to wane at this point. We were starting to move on from those. I wasn't, but the public was moving on from those 80s action stars, unfortunately. Now, this was a hit, though. So I think the action is well handled by Chuck Russell. It's nothing that's going to blow your mind, but there's some solid action set pieces here, especially the last set piece at the end of the film when we have our finale on the docks in Baltimore. The railgun's a cool, MacGuffin type weapon, although it was based on real technology the military had at that time and to this day. I think the cast here, Vanessa Williams does really well in her first film role, playing opposite of Arnold Schwarzenegger. James Caan's great. He can do this in his sleep. The whole cast is great. James Coburn's great. There's a lot of character actors you'll recognize throughout this film. I think they keep the story simple enough and streamlined enough that it's just an R-rated action film. So we're basically going from spot to spot. We're getting into action and we're moving on and until we get to our finale. It's a pretty tight movie, even at an hour and 55 minutes. They do keep the pace moving. So I think Chuck Russell did a nice job with that. Are there any downsides? Well, now, even on this Blu-ray, which we do need an upgrade. I wish this would get a 4K or at least an upgraded transfer. The transfer on this Blu-ray is okay, and on my 4K player and 4K TV upscaling, it looks pretty good considering. But the CGI does not hold up. The alligator scene at the zoo, for instance. They use an animatronic alligator, but then they use CGI for some of it. When the CGI alligator's on screen, my God, does it look like dog shit, unfortunately. And then there's a few other scenes of CGI that does not hold up. But overall, still, this is a very solid 90s action film starring one of our action superstars. Arnold will go down as one of our best action heroes of all time. And this movie proves that he still had it in 96. It's a well-constructed movie. Is it his best? No, but it's a very solid movie. Stallone was actually approached to star in this film, and he turned it down to go do Copland, and then he went to Schwarzenegger, and he came on and took the role. John Milius, Frank Darabont, and William Wisher, who co-wrote with James Cameron on Terminator 2, all worked on the script at one point or another during production. Chuck Russell and the producer Arnold Kopelson did not get along. There was so much bad blood. In fact, they wouldn't even talk to each other. The only reason the movie went smoothly through production was Schwarzenegger liked both men and got along with both of them. So he would be the go-between between the two of them, and he pretty much spearheaded the production to make sure everything went smoothly, and the movie got done on time. Although I do believe it went over budget, because I don't believe the original budget was $100 million. I think it was like $80 million or maybe 85, but it ballooned to $100 million. At the end of the day, this is a very solid mid-90s action film, kind of going towards the tail end of Arnold's reign as king of action movies. I've always liked this one. I used to rent this a lot, owned it on VHS. I have this Blu-ray. I would give Eraser a very solid 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 for Eraser. What are your thoughts on this film? Leave a comment down below. Let me know. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Share this video. I greatly would appreciate that. I'm going to head back to the early 90s for another action film from one of our other action stars for my next review. But until next time, bye.